All right. Good morning, Bearcat families. Thank you so much for joining us today for our move-in coffee chat. We're excited to share that we have 1,000 attendees scheduled or registered for this presentation today. So we're really excited to offer this, to have this space for you all to get a lot of your questions answered, and all things move in. My name is Don Montgomery. I serve as the Assistant Director of Family Engagement here in our Office of Parent and Family Programs. We provide you all with year-round information, engagement, and support. We really enjoy these coffee chats as they allow us to meet you wherever you are, no matter what city or state. I know some of you are probably at work now, taking a quick break in your car, on your phone. Someone did share possibly if you're on your phone and the view is kind of weird or clunky, maybe try to turn your phone sideways. It may show up better in that format. But again, we're just happy to have these and share this information with you. I want to thank our housing team for partnering with us again this year to provide this information. And I also wanted to give our director an opportunity to introduce herself.
Gosh, now here I am looking for the mute button. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to have you, especially all of you new Bearcat families. My name is Caitlin Borges. I'm the Director of Parent and Family Programs. We are happy to answer all of your questions. We will do our best to rapid fire answer today, both from the live view and from your screen typing here. If for some reason we happen to miss you, I'm so sorry. Just please reach out and give us a call later on. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Caitlin. If you all have any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat. I know we had some already coming through. We will try to make some time for that at the end to have designated time for that. We do ask that you kind of keep them as general questions and don't ask anything as like very specific, as we won't be able to address those in this space. And again, we will have some time for that. We're also going to do a poll towards the end of the presentation to kind of help us answer some more questions as well. And so without further ado, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Michelle.
Hey, everyone, happy Monday. So glad you are joining us for our hall move-in Bearcats move-in. Gosh, I'm just stumbling all over the words this morning. And so a big thank you to Diamond and Caitlin for hosting this. This is our second year, and we think that it's really valuable, and we enjoy being able to help highlight our move-in process for everyone. So my name is Michelle Soika, and I serve as an associate director here in our university housing department. I'll turn it over to Jacob to introduce himself.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jacob Knight, and I'm our Assistant Director for Housing Operations. We're excited that you are joining us today. Move-In is a big, elaborate production that a lot of time and planning has gone into it. And we're very excited about our move-in process, but we know you are too. Probably have lots of questions, and we hope that this will answer a lot of those for you. All right, we have a pretty simple agenda for today, and I feel like I'm seeing some of the Q&A questions are things that we're going to cover later on in this presentation. So here is our agenda. We're going to cover our move-in dates. We're going to talk you through the process itself. We're going to highlight some information about the specific locations for checking in and unloading. We're going to talk a little bit about our staff and volunteers who are going to be assisting you with move-in. And then at the end, as we just talked about, we're going to have some Q&A time to do our best to answer all the questions that are coming in, especially if we see repeated questions. A really important thing to know is just about everything that we are talking about today, you can find on the UC Housing website. So please Google it or dig through it. When we send communications to students, a lot of times we're linking to the specific pages related to it. So most of this is on our move-in webpage. And there's some other things in here as we go along where we'll provide you QR codes to the exact information. The move-in page includes some additional information that we find very helpful for staff or for students and parents to review before arriving. So some instructional videos and checklists and things like that. The other thing that I would just simply share is University Housing utilizes a virtual assistant chatbot And so if you're having trouble when you're sort of searching and reviewing our web pages, if you go over to the chatbot and throw your question to it, a lot of times it knows exactly what you're looking for and can get you the information. And then if you have student-specific information that you're trying to pose, you can easily transition to chatting with one of our live staff members or agents who is signed on to monitor for questions and help out folks. So please feel free to utilize that. And now I think I turn it over to Michelle. Nope, one more of me. All right, so our dates. We are really concentrating our move-in process to 4 specific dates. So Saturday, August 15th is the early arrival day for most folks. It's the only early arrival day that you can self-select if you're signing up for early arrival yourself. We do know that there are some groups that are working with to do early arrivals on dates outside of the 15th. Those are still approved and can be done, but that is only for specific groups because we're trying to keep all of this as organized as possible and utilize our very elaborate move-in process that we have developed. And so that process will be running on August 15th and then August 18th through 20th. We have 6,000 plus students that are going to be moving into our core campus areas over the course of that week. And so having a good traffic flow is really, really important. And that's where our Dash Pass and this process is born from, is to make sure that that's efficient and that we are being as helpful as possible. If anybody on the call is an upperclassman or transfer student, your arrival dates, you will not need to utilize a Dash Pass to do your arrival. Instead, you're going to be arriving on the 21st through 23rd, where there's a little less demand on campus resources. And most of those folks are living in our block lease locations where you're going to go directly to.
Yep.
Now
Jacob, I'm just gonna highlight this extra bullet on here. I saw a couple questions in here. If they are not arriving on the 15th, there's additional communication that will come. The process is a little different if you're arriving before the 15th or on the 16th or 17th. So just watch your email or your student's email for communication on what that looks like. Great. All right. So if you joined us at Bearcat Bound Orientation, you heard us talk about how move-in is easy as 1, 2, 3. And so we're going to walk you through the steps of step 1, step 2, and step 3 for our process. And you'll be able to see signage around campus that supports these steps and helps to navigate around campus. So let's jump into it. So step 1 is our check-in process. You're going to pull into your designated check-in staging garage, and that is highlighted on your Dash Pass, which we'll review here in just a moment. The Dash Pass is truly there to help support your move-in process. And so we do ask that you go ahead and print it out. I know that we like to try and use our phones and our digital opportunities as much as possible, but truly this paper is going to help you navigate around campus and help staff and volunteers help you navigate around campus. So we encourage you to print out the Dash Pass. We do encourage for all cars to have the Dash Pass printed. Again, it helps us help you navigate around campus. And so it is helpful for everyone to have that pass on their dashboard. All cars, after they have been checked in, will receive a hang tag that is designated for that day, and we'll ask for a good phone number for that car to be written on the hang tag. Now you will have to have it hanging on your rear view mirror or displayed on your dashboard with a phone number before you'll be allowed into the unload zone. So make sure that you've got that ready to go whenever you receive that hang tag. We'll also offer a pen in case that is something that got buried in the car during the packing process. So you'll have an opportunity to write it right there on the Dash Pass. And then we will get you queued up to go into the unload area. And so in some areas, you might be queued up a little bit differently. In others, you'll be able to go directly to the unload area. It kind of depends on where you are, but there will be staff and volunteers around to help you navigate that process from check-in. So we're in step 1. This is an example of our Dash Pass. And so you'll see in the top left corner is step 1, check-in, and there's different codes on here. And Jacob's going to talk a little bit more about the codes. And again, this is also on our Move-In website. But in this Dash Pass, for example, for Lucille Bearcat, they are going to be heading to Campus Green for their check-in process. They're living in Dabney Hall, which is what the building location in the top right corner is. And then in step 2, their unload area is the Daniels Circle. And so we will get Lucille and her guests queued up to go over to the Daniels Circle for her unload area. You'll also see a small QR code on the Dash Pass, and that is what we'll use to check the student into our housing software, which also gets them access to their building. So again, it's important to have this Dash Pass readily available for our staff teams and volunteers to see and to use to get you checked in. So step 2 is unload. And so this screen is specifically for folks who are unloading at University Avenue Garage, our Calhoun Garage, our UPA lot, and our Stratford lot. So if you are if your student is in Dabney or Daniels Hall or CRC, this does not apply to you. We'll talk about your process here in just a minute. But your unload, so you're gonna pull out of your Campus Green, you're going to arrive into Campus Green off of Woodside Drive, and you're going to go around the College of Law to enter Campus Green. Once you depart our Campus Green garage, you will go to your unload area. And so you'll be greeted by parking staff and or a volunteer who's helping. They'll make sure you have your hang tag on your car so that we know you've completed step 1 and the student is checked in. It also helps us to make sure that if cars are parked in places that we need access to, we've got a phone number to be able to contact someone for that car. And really, ideally, someone should always remain with the car. We are asking that at no time should a car be unattended, but if for some reason that happens, again, we've got this hang tag to contact folks and make sure that we can get the car moved out of the way as needed. So at the unload areas, there will be an opportunity to check out carts if they're available. And I'm going to say multiple times, probably today, that we cannot guarantee that moving carts will be available. So we strongly advise that you plan as though there are not move-in carts available. We may have some available to you, but we don't want to promise that. And then you are planning your move-in unload process to be part of or to use the move-in carts. And so we're encouraging folks to pack on wheels to make sure that you have a faster unload process. If your student is in an apartment or suite style building or community, they can go straight to their unit and start unloading into the common area space and then go down to the service center after they've moved the car out of the unload area to get their bedroom key. If your student is in Daniels, Dabney, or Stratford, they will need to go to their service center to get the key first, and then they can start unloading in their room. So just based on the styles of buildings, and again, we do have this information on our website, so you can go if it's going too quickly, if we're going through this a little bit too quickly. So for our folks who are in Dabney and Daniels Circle, again, you're going to be greeted by a parking staff or a volunteer into the space. And actually, this one says that you're given 30 minutes to unload, but this one is is a race to see who can unload their car the fastest in this space. So we will ask for folks to unload as quickly as possible and check out carts if needed. We will have this coat check process. And so you see on the screen, there's a white tent as part of the parking area. And so we're asking that if you're unable to send your student into the building, Dabney or Daniels, and also move the car at the same time, we'll hold on to one of your carts or multiple of your carts while you move the car, and then you can come back and we will check the cart back out to you, right? We'll get it to you, make sure that it's going to the right person, and then can move into your room. This really helps. It's a really small area for the volume of students that we have in these two buildings. And so it helps a lot to keep our students and our unload zone moving quickly. And so we would just ask that folks, again, stay with the car and move the car as quickly as possible after unloading it. This is another one of those areas where you need to go to the service center to get the key in order to access the room for these two buildings. All right, and then step 3 is to park. And so you'll park in your designated garage. So if the student has a parking permit, then we ask that they go straight to their assigned garage, wherever that is on campus. If students or guests don't have a parking permit, then they will be designated a parking garage or location near where their building is. And so again, there will be volunteers and staff around to be able to help navigate folks, and we'll have some maps available as well. But University Avenue and Daniels unloading area, you'll go back to the campus green garage, which is the same one that you checked into. Calhoun, just listen for the parking staff because that one fills up a little faster than we like, but there are several parking garages around that area and we'll get you parked in a space. And then UPA is the same way. So we'll get you either to Corey or CCM, or if Calhoun has availability, then we'll certainly do that. And then Stratford, again, you're going to want to talk to the parking staff over there. You'll be back in the Stratford garage if there's a permit. Otherwise, we'll send you over to the Clifton lot. But again, we'll have maps and we'll have volunteers around to help you navigate to that direction. All right, Jacob.
All right. So that's step 1, the check-in process. Our staff will have tablets that they are using to scan the QR code from your Dash Pass. That is what officially checks them in. But you need to go to a specific designated spot for that check-in to occur. So everybody who is assigned to Morgan's, Scioto, Marion Spencer, Turner, Schneider, Daniels, and Dabney will go to the campus green garage, and the check-in space is located up on level 5 of the garage. You'll enter the garage, you'll drive up the garage, and there will be signage as you're getting close to the check-in station, kind of splitting you and routing you based on your building to our check-in folks, where they will scan your code. For folks that are going to Calhoun and Sedall, that is going to be in Calhoun garage on the P2 level of the garage. For folks who are going to be moving into UPA, there is a surface lot that you will be doing this check-in at. And then for Stratford garage, you're going to enter at the top of the garage and work your way down to level 1, which is where our team will be at. The QR code that says scan for maps is probably one of the best things that you can go and check out and print out the individual map for your student specific move-in. So I think there's 7 different combinations of check-in locations and unloading zones. And so this kind of gives you some arrows and directions and some color coding to show approximately where you're doing your check-in, where you're doing your unloading, and how you're getting routed to your building. And so you can hopefully see and understand what that flow is looking like. So be sure to check out those QR codes. Some folks will get checked in, and our unloading zones will be totally available. And so then you will go straight to your unloading zone. But if there's not space in the unloading zone, we're going to have you queue up in the garage and wait until we have confirmed that we have space for you to go and unload. The check-in locations, I forgot this from the previous slide. The really important piece is we're doing the coordination for you so that we can keep you off of our city streets. Martin Luther King is a major street that a lot of folks are utilizing to have access to the hospital, and a number of other things in our area. So we just can't be clogging that up. So that's why we have you queue up in our garages. And then once the unloading zones have space available, we're going to send you over to there. So depending on the building that you are going to, you'll have some different designated unloading zones. So University Avenue Garage is level 1 is being used for Morgan's, Scioto, and Marion Spencer. It's really, really close by. And so it gives you quick and easy access to those spaces. The unloading zone for Turner and Schneider is on the second floor of the University Avenue Garage because it has easy access to a ramp that exits close to those buildings to give you that easy access. Our Dabney and Daniels folks will go to the Dabney Daniels Circle and park in our metered spots where you can do the coat check Michelle just described a little bit earlier. Calhoun Garage, you're going to go up or go to the P1 level, and that's where we have a convenient ramp for the carts to go up to get to Calhoun and Siddall. UPA, you're just going to park deeper into the parking lot where space is available to give you access to both the north and south buildings of that area. And then Stratford, you're going to go to our lot 3 space where our carts will be handed out, and then you can transport your things to your individual building within Stratford Heights. So please scan the maps and the QR code so that you sort of know what that plan is and you familiarized yourself with it before arriving. I think it'll answer a lot of our questions and hopefully makes this go really smoothly for you. All right, I'm going to kick this back to Michelle.
All right, so I've been trying to answer some of the questions in the chat as Jacob was talking. So hopefully we're getting some questions answered over there. Specifically, we wanted to highlight CRC and some of our block lease locations. So CRC, you may have noticed if your student is assigned to that location, they have not come up in any of our conversations, and that's because their move-in process is just a little bit different. So you will pull directly up to the building, entering off of Woodside Drive, and unload right there at the residence hall. You'll check in there and you will also unload at that location as well. Carts, again, limited supply, will be available right there at CRC. And students will be checked in directly to their community at the service center, which is just inside the front doors of CRC there. So your process is just a little bit different and go directly to the building. For our block lease locations, that includes 101 Corey, Gateway Lofts, U Square, and The Verge. We'll have our students check in directly at the property. Unloading will be right there at the buildings. Again, we'll have some limited carts. Our maps on the website that Jacob was referring to do have updated locations that also highlights the unload areas for our block lease locations. So make sure you're checking those out as well if your student is in a leased location. And then we'll have staff available on site for the check-in using some of our iPads, and you can have a dash pass for that if you want to, or it's in the housing portal, I think, but for the QR code, but we'll be able to check students in directly at our leased locations. All right, so we have a large host of staff and volunteers who are available to you all to help you navigate through the process and welcome you to campus. And so in the garages and parking lots and on the streets, you will find some of our university housing team members. We'll have law enforcement team members from UC and the surrounding areas. Our parking services team will be out and available to help navigate and answer questions. And then we'll also have volunteers from our faculty, staff, and student population around campus. In the buildings, you will have your university housing staff. And so professional staff and student staff members. And these are the folks who are going to be around throughout the academic year. And so if you have questions specific to that building on move-in day, they're going to be excellent resources for you to answer some of those questions about where's the laundry room in this building, or how do I get from this building to the closest dining center, or whatever those kinds of questions might be. Those are the folks that you're going to want to ask those questions to. We'll also have volunteers around, and then you'll also see our housekeeping and maintenance team members during move-in. And so they're helping to make sure that all the trash is getting taken out, that we have space for folks to discard boxes and recycle them. And so if you are looking for some assistance, we'll all have some high visibility vests on for staff and volunteers. And so just look for us in those vests, and we're happy to help answer questions during your move-in process. All right, I'm going to kick it back over to Jacob, talk about some odds and ends.
Thanks. I was answering some Q&A questions here, and one of those I marked as we would answer live because it's on the slide. So our bed adjustments process kicked off the week after assignments, and it has closed for pre-arrival sign up. And so it will open again once your student is checked in. Everybody who did a pre-arrival request, their reconfigurations should be completed ahead of your arrival to campus. If you did not submit a request before when it was open previously, and you're submitting one after you check in, please know that these will take some time to process, up to 6 weeks. Mostly because we are not going in the order of these being received. We are going in building order so that we can concentrate our resources and go building by building to sort of do some swaps and resetups for folks. So just know if you miss the window, we can still do it. It just is going to take a little bit of time. So you might want to plan accordingly with what all you're bringing so that you're not overstuffing your room and making it a little bit more challenging to do that reset. Our rooms have been pre-checked and should be in great condition for your arrival, but every once in a while something might be missed, or maybe something has stopped functioning in the meantime. And so when we do your check-in, part of what we're going to do is within 24 hours, you're going to get a notice of some important things to know. And part of that will also highlight our maintenance process. So students are encouraged to submit their own maintenance requests. That way they are getting information as that request progresses through the system to know if that is going to be taken care of in the near term and things like that. And so we strongly encourage you to utilize our maintenance requests if there's anything that needs to be updated. You are also, if it is deemed an emergency thing, able to go to our front desks and let them know that, hey, I'm seeing something that's leaking or something along those lines, for us to escalate that and get that repaired even faster. So that will, it inevitably can happen sometimes with our move-in, but we've done all of our pre-checks and feel very confident in the way our rooms are set up and looking for your arrival. Part of the check-in process is checking you into our student or our housing information system, which is communicating with our Bearcat card system. And so your unit card should be activated and should now have permission to access your building and your room. but sometimes that takes a little bit of time for things to get synced up, because this is, systems talking to one another. It's part of the reason why we like to make sure that we're doing our check-ins in our garages, and then the unloading a little bit afterwards is to make sure that that sync has occurred. But when you get to your room, your card might not initially work because it is operating off of old information saying you haven't been checked in yet. So we have provided notes on all doors that will guide you through how to access your room using your UCID. So you're going to tap your card, then you need to pause and wait, because when your card initially fails, the system automatically reaches out to check and see, hey, should this person have access to this room? That can take up to 60 seconds for it to do that call out to get information and confirm that you should have access. And then once that has occurred, when you swipe again, it should then grant you access. So we do sometimes see where folks are swiping it multiple times. Every time you swipe it, it's going to restart that timer. So give it a full minute before you swipe again if you want it to be working. And then use the reference notes and information in our halls to help you if you need a reminder. The really important thing is we've highlighted, we have a very efficient plan for getting folks here and settled, because we have so many students, and this is our 4th year that we are utilizing this process. So we have well-established plans for this. Follow the plan. I promise it works. I promise it will help you have an efficient day of moving in, and our folks are going to be able to help you as you progress through your day. But also have patience. We are checking in 6,000 people over the course of 4 days, 5 days with the early arrivals. So just know that sometimes you might be waiting in a parking garage, but I think you'd much rather be waiting in our parking garages than waiting out on a city street. Michelle shared with me a fun little factoid of, if all of the cars that had checked in through Campus Green Garage didn't utilize Campus Green, instead got in a line, we would have a 5-mile line to get to our residence halls. So be happy that we have figured out a way to get you off of the city streets where it's going to be much safer, especially if you need to pause and wait for an unloading zone, than taking up a lot of traffic. And then just have patience throughout the day. If you have questions, we've highlighted that we have great volunteers. Some of the folks will have fancy little hats like this. So be sure to look for those folks to help you as you navigate the day and answer any sort of incidental pop-up questions that you have. The Bearcats Package Center is another important resource that we want to highlight for you. You will be getting messages and mailers remind you of where to send your mail and where to send your packages. It's really, really important that they all go to the Bearcats Package Center, because that is the designated spot for all packages to go. It has great hours. It has a very efficient process. So please utilize that. The QR code will take you to their webpage where you can get all the important information for that. And it is located in the Tangaman University Center, so very central location for all of our students to go and pick up packages. The important thing to know is to properly label your mail so that the package center knows who is receiving it and who to assign that to, so that they can do notices out to folks that, hey, your package has arrived, and then they can go and pick it up from a locker. So utilize the label. It's here on our page, but it's also, if you go and use the QR code to the mail center's site, they break out all aspects of this. If you're utilizing Amazon or other delivery services that you regularly deliver it to, be sure to input this as your address for that, so that it helps you if you're ordering things for your students. The other important thing is we're only receiving packages 2 days before move in, so don't try to send things extra early. maybe pause and hold off on sending items so that it's closer to your student's arrival and it's not in the package center, not being picked up, where they might return it to sender or do something like that. And now, final slide.
All right, lots of really good questions coming in. So we will continue to answer some questions live that we see. I jotted down some notes of some kind of reoccurring questions that we have as well. But some move-in tips while we're hanging here is to print that dash pass for all the cars. Jacob highlighted our PDF maps for your location, so make sure you print those as well. We're getting quite a few questions about, can we pick up our key the day before? Can we move things in the day before our time slot? Again, we're asking to arrive during your window, so whatever is on your dash pass and the time slot that you're given, it's really critical that you arrive during that time, that window, to get checked in and to get moved in. Again, we want to highlight our Pack on Wheels, very, very successful in our first year last year. And so we want to just remind folks that anything you have in your home that's on wheels is a good packing mechanism for coming to college. Make sure you're planning ahead. Snacks are good, drinks are good. Be sure to gas up before you get to campus, especially if you're coming from a faraway location. There might be a need for you to be queued up for a little bit, and we don't want you to run out of gas during that process. If you do, we've got plans in place to be able to help out, but we certainly would love for you to not run out of gas, using restrooms, all those sorts of things. There's also an opportunity to connect at like a gas station or whatever if you're bringing multiple vehicles, because we do encourage you to come together for your vehicles to stay together through our process. So if there's an opportunity for you to meet up with and make sure you're connected, that's helpful. Make sure you're looking ahead at the weather. I've been watching the 30-day forecast for the last while, I guess more than 30 days. So been trying to predict what it might look like. So just make sure you're looking ahead at the weather. If it's going to be hot, make sure you got plenty of water available. If it's going to rain, moves forward if it's raining. If there is severe weather, we will have different directions, but those will be sent out in a timely manner. But just make sure you're being cognizant of the weather. And again, we ask that you limit the number of vehicles. We want you to stay together. And tall vehicles have a tough time navigating our garages. So we just ask that you really refrain from those tall vehicles as you're able to. So a couple of things that I saw in some common questions that I saw: 2 cars. So we certainly understand that you might need to bring a car for your student and a car for the family that's helping to move them in, or the guests. And that's fine. We just, again, ask that you all have a dash pass printed and try your best to, again, stay together through the process. We will help navigate if you get separated, but it is easier for you all if you try to stay together and come to the check-in area in the same time frame. Got lots of questions in there about early arrival. So if your student is coming on the 15th and you've gotten notification already, or you're waiting for notification for the 15th, the process is the same as we outlined. So you will go to your step 1 garage location to check in. You'll go to your step 2 unload location to unload, and then you'll park in whatever the designated parking location is for your step 3. So the 15th is the exact same as we've described it for the 18th through the 20th. If your student is arriving outside of, so either before the 15th or on the 16th or 17th, there is an email forthcoming on how to navigate move-in. And so please make sure your student is checking their UC email about that early arrival and that specific designation for that early arrival. Jacob, I've seen quite a few questions about the Dash Pass. So it came in an email last week. It should have been attached to an email, but if they missed that, or for some reason it may not have attached, where else can they find the Dash Pass?
That is the main place that we share it, so we can resend it. And we typically do a regular cadence of sending those out. Some students are going to change their assignments. Some students are going to change their arrival times. We want you to have the most up-to-date information. And so we typically will send those again at some point later this week. And then if not, then we definitely are doing it the day or two before the early arrival window. So you should have a fresh dash pass with all of the information just before you arrive if you have made a change since the original. So
Great.
Continue to check your email.
Continue to check email. Great, love that. I've seen several questions about I'm not bringing a car to campus, or I'm an international student, or the drive-through process won't necessarily work for you all. Totally fine. We get that. Just go straight to your residence hall, and we will get you checked in that way. So that's if you don't have a car. If you are arriving in a vehicle, we still need you to go through the garages, to go through the step 1, 2, and 3, and make sure that you're managing through that process. Again, you won't be let into the unload zone unless you have a hang tag on your car. And so please make sure you're following that process. I'm seeing lots of questions about elevators in here. All of our buildings do have elevators, except for Stratford. So Stratford buildings do not have elevators. They do only have, let's see, first, second, third floor. So they do go up a couple flights to the third floor. But that is the only community, Stratford is the only community without elevators in it. What other questions are folks seeing that we can help answer live?
I'm going to answer one live that I saw of, can you still sign up for early arrival? Yes, that form will stay live for folks to sign up. And so you can do that all the way up until next week. And so please, feel free to utilize that. I think we communicate. It works best if you're able to complete that by the 13th, so that we will definitely have a fresh dash pass to you. But if you sign up later than that, we can still accommodate your move-in. You just won't have a fresh dash pass that highlights your new move-in time. I also saw a question about somebody saying they got a notification of their approved for early arrival on the 15th, but their dash pass has their original time slot still. Part of that early arrival email message includes information about how to sign back into the housing portal and to pick a time slot for your arrival on the new date that you were just approved for. So review your email, and that should guide you through it. But basically, you're going to sign back into the housing application. The final page of that has the time slots that are available, and you can now pick one on the 15th. If you're not approved to be an early arrival, you will not see the 15th as an option. So you must complete the early arrival form to see the 15th, the time slots on the 15th. Yeah.
Great. I'm seeing quite a few questions about bed adjustments. If your student did not submit a pre-arrival bed adjustment, no worries at all. We do not have a standard height per se for our beds. And so it's really kind of how the room was left by the previous occupant. However, many of our students do request medium heights. So that is a pretty standard height across campus. However, I'm going to say this again, we do not have a standard height across campus. And so there is an opportunity to do bed adjustments again once you have checked in, go through the housing portal in order to make that request. And as Chica mentioned earlier, it could take up to 6 weeks, and it is depending on parts and pieces that are available. So I always like to put those caveats out there as well. I saw a good question in here about time slots. They asked if my student has an 11 o'clock time slot, does that mean that I'm arriving at the residence hall at that time, or does that mean the time I'm checking in? That is an excellent question. Your time slot that you have been assigned is your check-in time slot. So that is the time you should be at step one in that window of time. And so make sure that you're planning accordingly, and then you will get to your building, your unload zone, depending on the time of the day and the queue at that time. It could be a little while later. I'm not going to say any numbers out there because it's hard to say sometimes, but your time slot is what time you should be at step one. That was a great question. Lots of questions about Bearcat cards. So our Bearcat card office will be open during our move-in processes. You'll also get it if you're going to Bearcat Bound orientation once you get here in August, so you'll get it then. We do have some temporary cards that can be issued at our service center, so we can make sure that folks have access to their spaces. All right, taking a look here in the Q&As. Lots of really individualized questions. So I would encourage folks to make sure you're visiting our website for things like types of furniture offered in the spaces, the room types, our micro fridges. Every room comes with a micro fridge. In Stratford, it comes with mini refrigerators. So make sure you're checking out our communities page on our website for some of those individualized specific questions. Question about if this recording is available to participants after the session. It will be available, Caitlin and Diamond, it'll be on the PFP portal, and then we will also post, so yes, the answer is yes, it'll be on the PFP portal, and then we'll also post it, I think, on our website to get you over to the PFP portal, so you'll be able to view it from the housing website as well. Great. Yes, lots of questions about physical keys. Sorry, Caitlin, I jumped right in. So
You're
our
fine.
areas,
They were still typing in there, and it moves a little bit while we're typing answers. So thanks for your patience.
Yeah. So our areas that have physical keys are Dabney, Daniels, and Stratford. Everywhere else has Bearcat card access to their units. Some of them will need bedroom keys, but that's a later problem. Get your cars unloaded, get into your space first. But Dabney, Daniels, and Stratford will need to get their keys to get into their space. Looking at other questions that are in here. Package Center, all mail for our residential students does go through the Package Center. So Jacob shared a little bit about the Package Center. Every community has on our website, there is the Package Center address to send items to that Package Center. No mail comes directly to the buildings, or shouldn't. Packages are the same way, bulk packages. Yeah. Oh, another good question about labeled beds. Sorry, Caitlin. So if your student has requested their bed to be adjusted before they arrive and their roommate has not, the student who has requested the adjustment will have a slip on their bed verifying that the bed has been adjusted to the height they requested. So make sure your student is looking for a slip of paper with their name on it, verifying that it is adjusted to their request.
Michelle, I am so sorry if I missed this while I was typing furiously, but we've had some questions about actual arrival time. So should folks arrive at their direct time or just slightly before?
Good question. That's a great question. So we advise a 15-minute window on either side of your time slot, knowing that sometimes it's going to be tricky to navigate through the garages. Some might be queued a little bit more than others. So 15 minutes on either side of your time slot to get checked in is what we advise. Great question.
Okay, so hopefully if I have an 11 o'clock time slot, I arrive at 11 o'clock. Great.
Yep, you
Thank
can be
you.
as early as 10:45.
Love that. Thank you. That's very helpful. Can you also talk about air filters and how often those are changed?
Of course, our maintenance team goes through and changes those in the summertime. So when students arrive back, the air filters will have been changed. And then they go through again over our winter break and change the filters again. So twice a year, the air filters in the rooms are changed out. Seeing some questions about cleaning. So in our apartment and suite style communities, we do have bi-monthly restroom cleaning. That is to help make sure that at the end of the year, our restrooms don't take us an extra long time to clean, right? We want to make sure students are cleaning during the times when it needs cleaned and in between when our housekeeping team members come in. But we do have bi-monthly cleanings that happen in our suite and apartment style for our campus core buildings. We do have vacuums available in our Recre lockers. On our website, you can learn a little bit more about our Recre lockers and some of the things that we offer through there. Cleaning supplies, recreational equipment, gaming, things, that sort of stuff. Dining centers will be open starting on Saturday, August 15th. We'll have 2 of our facilities open that day, and then the rest will open alongside move-in. So our dining centers will be available once students start returning to campus. Lots of questions about the Dash Pass that we've answered. Hopefully folks heard that already. Dash Passes have been emailed out. They will continue to be emailed out. So if you missed it or didn't get it, make sure your student is watching their email for those Dash Passes.
Michelle, again, apologies if I didn't hear this, but we've had several questions about roommates having a similar move-in time. Not sure if you had hit that. Please excuse me if you did.
No, we didn't. Jacob, you want to talk about the time slot?
Yeah, so our time slots were randomly assigned. And so we did not try to control for, I mean, some people try to arrive at the same time as their roommate, some people don't. The nice thing about us doing our early arrival process is as folks are self-selecting early arrival, they're going to be canceling their originally assigned time slot, which will open up time slots on the 18th, 19th, and 20th for students that are not doing early arrival to potentially change their time slot. And so if you're trying to get arrive on the same day as a roommate, you can look for a time slot on that day, or if you're trying to separate those out, you can do that as well. So those will be limited a little bit just because we filled every time slot initially, but as more and more folks sign up for early arrival, you'll see a little bit more flexibility with your arrival times and you can change.
A question about UC cleaning the room. So yes, I want to just let you all know that our UC maintenance and housekeeping team members have been through every space on campus, and then we verify and double verify that the spaces are ready to go for students at move-in time. So we have had lots of eyes on the spaces, and they have all been cleaned ahead of arrival. I've seen a couple questions about dimensions of rooms. We do not provide dimensions of room because we have so many different physical rooms in our portfolio. And so if we were to provide the dimensions, we would have a very long list on our website. And so if you're looking for things like area rugs and that sort of thing, we advise a 5x7 area rug is one that fits nicely between beds. Typically, that's what we're getting the question about the size of the spaces. So, but yeah, we don't provide that on our website because again, each space is a little bit unique in our buildings.
Two quick things that I'm seeing. I answered a question earlier where folks were asking how many bedrooms are in the unit that my student has been assigned. It's probably easiest to see and discern using the portal version of your room assignment. So when you sign in, you can see the other occupants assigned to your room. Look at their actual room assignments. And so if you're seeing like A1, A2, A3, A4, you're probably assigned to a quad. And so that A is the bedroom designation, and then the 1, 2, 3, 4 is the bed designation for that assignment. But if you're seeing like A1, A2, B1, B2, that means it's a 2-bedroom unit, probably a suite, most likely, but it's 2 bedrooms with 2 occupants in each bedroom. So the letters tell you how many bedrooms are in the unit, and then the letters or the numbers that follow that letter tell you how many people can be assigned to the space. So hopefully that's helpful. I also saw some questions, people asking the default height of beds and things like that. I can't remember if you answered that already, Michelle, did you?
I did.
Okay,
We
sorry.
don't have a default height set,
Yep.
but many of our students choose medium as their height. And so it's whatever the students left when they left in April or May, I guess it was. But many of them choose medium. But that is not a standard. That is not a default. Just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Can we touch on the IDs one more time about if they don't have their Bearcat cards and where to get them?
Yes, Bearcat cards. So if students are coming to Bearcat Bound orientation, once they arrive to campus, you'll get the Bearcat card there. We do have some temporary cards that can be issued directly from the service center. I've seen several questions about where's the service center. In many buildings, it's just inside your front door of the building. So the service center is typically right there where you enter the building. And so temporary cards can be issued. In some areas, we might issue a physical key to assist until you get your Bearcat card. The Bearcat card office will also be open during move-in on Saturday the 15th and then all week starting on the 17th during normal business hours during the weekday.
Is there a cost for early arrival?
Yes, unless you're in a pre-approved early arrival group that is requesting access for you. If this is a personal request to arrive on Saturday, you're going to pay a nightly rate based on your tuition guarantee cohort. The early arrival sign-up form will guide you through that and tell you what the price is and tell you what your TG cohort is if you don't know what that is, tuition guarantee cohort. So you should see that as you are doing the form.
All right, and it looks like we are right at time.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I didn't know if you had any other last minute things. Parents and families, we truly appreciate you all taking the time out of your schedule to join us this morning. And to our campus partners, we thank you for your continued partnership. And we certainly would not be able to do this without you. So parents, please, we ask that you stay connected to our family portal. We have a lot of information that we'll be sharing with you all like the next week, I would say, We'll be getting some more information coming out. Please continue to save the date for Family Weekend, which is October 9th through 11th. We have some hotel information listed on our website as well. And we are looking forward to welcoming you all in just a few weeks. We're looking to have something here and welcome you all into our office as well during move-in, but we will be pushing that communication out through that family portal as well. Again, we are here to help you anytime. Please reach out with any questions or concerns that you may have, and we're happy to assist you every step along the way. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much.
If we miss your question, send us an email.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.